I mean, how do you make politics cool? How do you appeal to young people?
Yes.
I mean, you and I both were engaged in adverts during Fees Must Fall in different ways.
Hey, did you guys smell tear gas during Fees Must Fall?
Close the gate together.
Closed the gates. We got.
Oh, you guys were hold door of Fees Must Fall. Hold on.
I'm a child born of Lenaisia.
Yo. Hey.
Tough.
It's like the Madagascar of the South.
Alright.
It's still Africa, but hey,
It's a no. The issues of amla oil and spice. It's heavy there. We have to help the young people turn this around with our wisdom, with our experience, and we'll get there in one generation.
I think in order for us to all have a stake in this country, we need to really grab the bull by the horns.
Which one is this one?
Hey. What's what? It doesn't matter what struggle song is the rhythm of your heartbeat. What matters is where you choose to put the X. So, what actually happens when you are in that voting booth by yourself?
Utata fought for our rights.
Again. You gotta try something else, man.
Hey, Baba, just relax. Just relax. We just arrived. Man. Please.
But we are winning.
What you will do is not influence the right of this young individual that's going to walk into here to vote.
We are winning.
Must everything be a spectacle with you?
It's just
Please.
a bunch of losers making noises after noises after noises. But we all know.
Guys, please. I know we can't work together, but there's a voter coming in here. Can we just be mindful and take our turns speaking?
This young individual knows what to do.
How
We are
can
cruising nicely.
white monopoly supremacists want
You're
to
a
tell
small
us
boy.
what to do?
You're a small boy.
Utata has fought 27 years in Robben Island.
Look,
Hey,
this
wena.
country
Hey,
is for
wena.
everyone.
Hey, wena. You will not tell me what to do.
Mama Winnie needs to give me a sign.
How?
Will not stand for this.
Look, I know a good sign. A good sign is a well-run municipality.
Not yet. Where have you been running? We have
That's
been
us.
running on the ground, on the streets.
Do you want to be a part of change? Do you want to be at the cusp of this country?
This is not a newsroom.
Aren't you tired of load shedding?
You know what?
Aren't you
It's a
tired of
revolutionary
potholes?
moment, yeah.
I will let this
Here we are here for a revolutionary
I
moment.
will
You
let
want to be a part of
I will
a
not
great
allow this to
team.
happen.
And that team is South
For the
Africa.
7 cardinal pillars.
We can't sing through our problems, let me be honest. But we can fix them.
We are cruising nicely here at the bottom.
Make the right
Because
X.
we are rising to the top.
I can also sing songs. Hey, die blauw van onze jeugd.
Igwa.
That's why I have these boys singing. I'm in charge.
Ons begeer
Igwa.
van
King die blue.
I've got the ruling
King
part.
gebertes. What is a
Here's the important
gebertes?
part. Sounds the call to
That's why I
come
have these fools running around here.
together. And united we shall
These people
stand.
are-
We, us, together.
These people are.
Let us
There's
live
no way. What do you
and
know about
strive
unity?
for freedom.
You know nothing about the unity.
In South Africa, our land.
Our.
Guys,
Speak of our.
We are speaking about this country like it's a
My friend.
society. Come together for
no,
what?
just listen, my friend.
When have
No
we
one
come
is going to
together?
tell
do
you
the
what
right
to
thing.
do at
This
what
is not
time.
a this is not a WhatsApp
Aren't you
group
tired
here.
I'm in
of
Come
charge.
together.
just coming in with
I'm in charge.
overalls?
Who's the
What is
ugly?
this? Is
Who's
this
the
a mine?
ugly?
or-
Listen
the
to these
ugly?
fools arguing
Hey.
at the top position.
I look
I'm
like
in
your
charge.
grandfather. I look like your grandfather.
Oh, not this again.
I'm in
I
charge.
look like your
Look, we're not
grandfather.
about the past, eh?
We are
Yeah,
cruising
your
nicely.
grandfather
I get it. I
died
was
and fought
exiled
for
and
this.
things happen. I
No,
wasn't
man,
there
child.
personally myself.
Just
Rabba
because.
Beta.
But I promise you this: when we look to the future,
Rubber band.
it's about to change.
This
This
election
is one
is
South
only
Africa
that.
for all of you.
We are cruising nicely.
Doesn't matter if you're pink, green, white,
That's
blue,
why
orange.
this phone-
It doesn't matter. We don't see color.
Color, no color. Me, I'm not afraid, but I
We
deal with
don't
you.
see color. We see
Decisively.
unity. We see South Africans.
I deal
We
with
see despair. We see people who are ready for change.
What you will
People
not do is
who are
influence
tired
the
of
choice
losing
the young
tires to
individual that's going to come
potholes.
vote here.
People who are
And
tired
manipulate the
of
young minds.
surviving of 350.
Of our people.
Tired
Before you do
SABC
of
anything,
no
One,
electricity.
before you
SABC
know
One,
you want them
Tired.
to tick a box.
SABC One will bring back Gem
If
Early.
you're tired,
We will bring
Put
back
your ex
Gem
right
Ah, you
Early.
want them to
Solo
do it.
City,
Right, look at this.
Takalani Sesame,
I should have
Look
done
at
it.
this.
football,
Again.
I should have done
I'm
it.
sure about
Huh?
this. My friend, let me tell you something, eh?
I'm not your friend.
I'm
We're
in
not
charge.
here.
I'm not your friend.
Listen, my friend.
I'm in
I
charge.
am
Listen.
not your
Listen.
friend. Please
We're
rephrase
cruising.
from your
We're
We
cruising.
could be
statement.
doing more than
Please
changing
Both
names.
small
rephrase.
boys.
I'm not your friend.
You're both small
Using
boys.
that
My
money
friend
to
is the
build
voter.
Small boys.
on South Africa.
My friend
Understand?
is the voter.
The top column is corruption.
I can't even do this.
The middle column has no identity.
I can't.
We have the seven
it's
cardinal
loud
pillars.
here.
How do I
It's hot.
speak
Yeah.
to a man that uses moisturizer for his hair?
Middle
About
ground. There's no
serious
middle ground.
stuff.
Corruption.
Says the guy
And no
who
identity.
steals money.
That's why.
To do what?
If you
These
want to
fools
see
are
what
running
corruption
around
looks
here.
like, my friend,
Do you have
scroll
the
up.
slips? Do you have the
charge.
slips?
Are you going to put an X
Do you
on
have the
corruption?
slips?
I'm in charge.
Do you have the slips?
Money disappears. When do you think it disappears? To?
Allegedly.
Look at all
Allegedly.
our body structures.
No,
That's
that money
why-
Do I look like I'm eating more than I should?
I'm running around here.
No.
Huh?
I'm in charge.
I'm asking.
Eh?
Yeah.
You are asking, who are you asking?
Who looks like they're eating more than they should be?
Arguing about eating when we've got
Apartheid
degrees
took
here.
us
eh?
all down.
Not
We have
this
got
again.
graduates.
Guys, that was in the past.
And we make sure that we win.
That was in the past.
What past?
We are moving towards a future.
What future?
Moving, but you're not running. We are creating. Kichi, kichi.
Who's that person under you talking so much?
It's that other guy.
Who's that other guy?
He was part of you. And then all of a sudden, poof, gone. Now there's two of you.
Why is he-
And I'm stuck in the middle. I'm stuck in the middle.
I am not over anyone. I am
But I
above.
will not be overwhelmed. I will not be distracted from my mission. And my mission is one South Africa.
You look like a fish finger.
We filled up the stadium
You look like a fish finger.
because we're on the ground. Yeah.
The one under you looks like a Kit Kat.
That's why these fools are running around here. I'm in charge.
Kit
not gonna-
Kat le fish finger. Ke lwane Kit Kat le
O ka re
fish
botsa
finger.
ka
Come
re
on.
Kit Kat le
Listen.
di-fish finger ke rena re tshwere di-votes.
I'm really, it's stuffy in here. And someone didn't put roll on. I'm
Just
not
a
gonna say
bunch
who.
of losers.
Roll on
But let me
ke
tell you
ba-
something.
ba- corruption.
We're a clean party.
This is like a Comic Con for
We're a
losers.
party that fights for the people.
Ke rena ra apere clean mo.
2 words.
Cruising nice.
Town.
I look like your grandfather. Come on.
Don't you want
Come
your
on.
place to be like Cape Town?
This is a voting
You
station,
know what
not
to
a
do.
newsroom.
Here's the X.
Where's the Cape Town?
Here's the X.
Bastard.
Where in Cape Town? Are you talking at Langa, Nyanga? Or are you talking
Arguing
about
about
Camps
places they
Bay?
don't own.
Are you talking Langa, Nyanga?
What happens to the land?
Where there's no
Okay,
flushing
okay, fine,
toilet.
okay, fine,
There's
fine.
no flushing
What happens
toilet.
to the land?
No
What are you doing?
flushing
there?
toilet.
What have you done?
Huh?
What happens
I made
to
the
the land?
table mountain.
They can't answer me. They are just
I
arguing
made
about
the table mountain. I'm the one that
I can show you what you've done.
I'm in charge.
I can show you what you've done.
What have I done?
I'm
What
in
have I
charge.
done? What have I done?
I'm in charge.
Exactly.
Oh my! Oh.
That's what you've done.
Shebang
This is a state of the nation.
Now our voter can't even see where he should put the, X.
The coal
Because
is
we're in
wet.
darkness.
The coal is wet.
Thanks to who?
The coal is wet.
How long is coal going to be wet?
From the rain.
Microwave it
Are
then.
you controlling the rain? Are you controlling the rain?
Solar panels.
I
That's
must
what we're
control
doing
the
on
rain.
the ground.
Am I Queen Mujaji?
Cheapest.
We're
Am I
bringing
Queen
solutions.
Mujaji?
Yeah.
Kinna Queen Mujaji here.
That's what we're doing.
Eh?
Brightening up the country.
Thank
You
you.
know my
Brighter
language.
future generators.
We have a
Proudly
brighter
brought to
future.
you by the
Ukukhuluma
DA.
nawe ngesixhosa asithethe.
When they take away the power, we bring it right
have
back.
the power to bring a brighter future. Not this nonsense that you're arguing about.
There's an
If
inventor.
You
they
are
were
the
so
top,
bright,
you're doing
would
nothing.
we have no
There's an
shedding?
inventor.
If they were so bright,
There's
would
an
we have
inventor.
potholes?
You are claiming at the top, you're ruling, but you're doing
If
nothing.
they were so bright, would they know that MacG and
That's
Tini
why I
actually
have got
played
the
cricket
ruling
not
right
rugby?
to-
Potholes are a result of the tectonic plate shifting. It's none of our business.
Both the parties at the top, I have got them by scrotum.
Vote.
Do the right thing.
We will bring change. Vote. Again.
You should change, buddy.
Know nothing about change. Just to steal the change.
Lomulungu-
Corrupt.
Do you want to know what a red flag is?
Lomulungu is
Robo Pops, awubiza ama-cheese girl nama-cheese boy da We motivate, then we laugh as well. Stay on brand, never hard to sell. Got real chats, now my LOL. So we both got gang and we blessed as hell. Siyadlala story. Petting on my guest, and nice and more. You want my bundles, not of joy. Said it's some pop-pops and robot boys.
Popcorn and cheese. Yeah? Popcorn and cheese. Popcorn and cheese. Popcorn and cheese. Call it woy like friends like these. Popcorn and cheese. Popcorn and cheese. Popcorn and cheese. Call it woy like friends like these.
Popcorn and Cheese, episode 30.
Thank you.
Raleboga ausi wa borukhuba
Leather to the. Did you notice she's wearing the same shoes as Ghosty?
Yeah, the shoes that look like they have a bracelet on them.
They've got a necklace on them.
It's protecting the big toe.
You know when you fart in leather, the fart doesn't come out.
It like simmers down.
Yeah, it stays until you get home later.
Which one is this one?
Voila.
Also, how do you wash leather pants? You polish them?
Pops.
That joke is a nugget.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
Yes, sir.
cheese boys, cheese girls, and the cheese gang. Welcome to yet another episode of Popcorn and Cheese. Today, you are in for a treat. Everyone is rocking out in their black camo swag because today, Sila, Mamela, right there in the back, dressed in black with a white hat.
Which one is
Please
this one?
put your digital hands together. Help us welcome the most complicated mind online. Ladies and gentlemen, some of you might have seen him in Durban trying to snatch a phone.
But got hit by a test.
But he got hit by a test. And he's back in his seat. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the one and only Titi Chumeric, the Barbarian.
Ish.
And, is your neck
neck
fine,
is
buddy?
still sore.
All right. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, last time you saw him, he gave you a sneak peek as to how his hair has grown. Today, he covers it again. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from the south of Johannesburg, the son of a poet, the brother of a dancer, and the cousin of a musician. It gives us great honor and pleasure
Which
to
one is this
introduce the other member of Popcorn and Cheese, the one and only Robot Boy.
Yes.
Jesus.
Ladies and gentlemen, we already know that here shots are fired and we are in army mode. As you can see him in his camouflage, the one and only, the greatest of all time. Overall, he's overall the best anchor of the whole thing. President of the Yellow Post, ladies and gentlemen, Umpo Pops Morikwane.
Leadership, comrades, comradians. It gives us great honor and pleasure to introduce our guest today.
Yes.
An activist,
Come on.
a community builder,
Yes.
Comrade.
a fighter,
Facts.
a youth, a man with an incredible beard that is laced with amla oil. Please put your hands together for a young man who has decided to take a stand
Yep.
all the way from over here. Give it up for the one and only Is Irfaan Mangera. Is it Mangera or Mangera?
It's Irfaan,
Irfaan.
Fine.
and Mangera.
Mangera. Irfaan Mangera.
Bangena. Yeah.
Yes. Irfaan, my brother. You know, last week we had an eye-opening episode with
Very insightful.
with a friend of our of the show. Her name is Farafai, right? And we spoke about the youth and the youth's participation in politics, and voting, most importantly, right? Before we get into it, I want you to please look at the camera there. Tell everyone who you are and what it is that you do.
Sure. Who am I and what I do? It's a complicated question. Like my brother, yeah, I'm also from Joburg South.
Come on.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah.
Yebo, yebo, yebo.
All from Joburg South.
Yeah.
It's the deep south that you have to worry about. But I'm a child born of Lenaisia.
Yo.
Ah,
Hey.
Stuff.
that's like the Madagascar of the South. Still Africa, but hey, man.
The issues of amla oil and spice. It's heavy there.
Lenaisia South.
Lenaisia.
Okay,
Not
so before the
Lenaisia South,
toll gate. Okay.
Just before the
The original one.
The origi.
Yeah, because Len South came after. There's a long legacy there, and I like leading with that because, Apartheid and Group Areas Act meant that my family's house was bulldozed in Fitas, which was close to Wits, where myself and Titi went to study.
Yes.
Oaks with degrees are going to brag now. We got our matric from Mondio High, myself and Robert.
Look, Mondio is still Joburg South, so I respect you. It's a good story, but also a painful one because we had to endure the legacy of apartheid in many ways. So traveling by bus 6 a.m, knowing you missed that, there's no other transport, you have to figure yourself out. But I consider myself a child of many communities because from a young age I was involved in community relief work, so food programs, sports. I come from a sports family. So shout out to my father's sports shop, Solis. Some of you who are in...
Oh, is that your dad's shop?
That's my dad's shop.
Okay.
A lot of the sports players in the South and across Joburg know them for...
Yes.
He's a short uncle, but he loves his sports.
Yeah.
And because of that, working there, working families, you have to go and do your bit. There's no free...
There's no free meal.
There's no free meal.
There's no free ride at all.
So we had to do our bit in working at the shop on weekends, on holidays, and you get to meet so many people from across the different divides in society. And thankfully that had given me an opportunity to break beyond the apartheid legacy that was created. So Lens being a predominantly Indian area meant that I could now meet people from Eldos, from Ennerdale, from Soweto, Naturena, Walkerville, all of these areas. And you understand the issues more in complex ways. And thankfully, starting there at Al-Aqsa School, was a Muslim school, you realize that the bubble that's created by apartheid and its structure had meant that we all grew up in this without questioning is this the norm that we saw the Rainbow Nation being.
What you're exposed to.
But do you feel like politics in general, like the way it's communicated, is working?
While you are buffering, what?
Which one is this one?
What do you do, my brother?
What do I do? I'm an activist, man. I've always been an activist. It's a servant of communities, if you must. So in many ways, trying to get involved in however I can help society. Officially now, I'm at Rise Mzansi from July. I'm the head of civic alliances.
Yes.
But that's because of my 15 years of experience prior, working in sports clubs, in NGOs, in civil society. My former work was the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation as the youth program manager. So I used to do that. And all that experience in that sector of society, I was motivated to join Rise and take up this role.
Tell us about Rise, because it might be a little bit confusing to a few people, because in the same week that Rise was launched, our Rise was launched as well.
Is this one the A? Or
Which one is the iPhone and the
Samsung
Huawei something.
No, what?
Which one?
The Huawei.
Who are we?
There's a Hawaii and a Huawei. You understand?
Okay. Yeah. So tell us about Rise,
Rise
Mzansi, and what your involvement is there.
Sure.
Are you the owner?
I'm not the owner. No, Rise has no owners. We believe the people must own the movement.
Oh, I love that.
And so when we say for the people, by the people, it really stems from the kind of politics we want to be bringing to society. We met last year in November at a conference where multiple groups, NGOs, influential people in society, organizations who said, something's wrong, man. This country is going in a very bad direction. And so how do we fix that thing? And so, November to April, we had convened many meetings. We went on an engagement spree, if you like, to go and speak to society, speak to people who are vulnerable, who are saying politics is not working, something is amiss in this democracy.
Yeah, man. There's a bit of a disconnect, especially when it comes to politics and the youth.
Yeah.
You know, right now, from a surface level, it kind of just feels like all these old people are running the game and they're telling us what to do. And if you want to participate, you have to wait to be that old to get in and make changes. And by the time you're old, let's be honest, there's nothing you really want to change.
Yeah, I mean, the shocking thing is most of the same people who are there occupying seats were in their 20s and in their teens when they were doing this type of work. They've now gotten the seats and decided it's theirs alone.
Yeah.
So who are these people? Because you talk about for the people, our people. I think what politics has done a good job of doing in these last couple of years is racially defining, you know, tribalistically defining who's in their party and racially. You know, when you think DA, you think white. When you think VFF or VF, you think very white.
Run plus.
Very white. You think,
Which one is this one?
Even if they give free shirts, I don't want one. Like it's all right.
you know, you think ANC, you think black, you think these types of tribal groups, you think Zulu, you think Xhosa, you think Venda, you think, you know. So when we think Rise, what are the people that represent Rise Mzansi?
South Africans.
Ooh. Boss.
But you know what
I can tell from the logo, like the different colors, like the Rainbow Nation shirt.
It's a bit more substantial than that.
Or is it more pride?
No, it's a mix of that, but to recognize the difference we have, which is pretty much that.
Exactly. Yeah.
The challenge is that for too long, we've not spoken about what is the South African identity. How do we build this one nation that we call South Africa? We are a melting pot of difference.
Yes.
But politicians play up the difference for
for
their benefit.
And so this conference that happened last year was a powerful moment because it cut across all these divides that continue to set us back as a country. And so I said we need to build an inclusive organization that represents the broad vision of a new South Africa, a new democracy, and reset it based on all South Africans who live here. Because if you ask me, you'll see this Indian guy, you ask a white person who's been here for ages, they don't have another country to go to. I mean, my ancestors came years and years ago, but this has been home, and we want to make this home work. We want to make this work for all of us.
Yeah.
And so Rise represents the nation that we want to build, of all racial groups, all gendered groups.
Yes.
And making sure that everyone has, and particularly the most vulnerable, who's never had political voice, find voice. So that's the kind of identity that we're trying to build through Rise.
You know it's crazy. Yes, this.
I was what I was gonna ask.
There we go.
Yeah.
Just loaded.
I was having a chat with my friend on our way here, and we were thinking about like politics. Is politics really understandable by young people, or is it palatable enough, or is it simple enough for people to understand? Because I feel like a lot of these policies, a lot of these acts, Act number 500 and what bill, we don't know what any of that stuff means. Like you're saying, we don't read the terms and conditions, and the terms of the conditions of this country come in a small book that's written in high English. And is non-accessible to most homes and families. And when there's a fire, it's the first book you're throwing in there.
What? We need something to start the fire.
You're going to use the drum magazine.
Constitution.
You're going to use drug magazine. No, there's pictures in there. The Constitution doesn't have pictures. That's why I'm saying it's so far removed from what people understand. That's why the simplest things like hate, it's easy to understand hate because hate is simple. We don't like that guy. Why? We don't care. We just don't like that guy. That's easy. Why is it so difficult to understand politics in this country?
The political establishment benefits from the complexity around politics. It's easy for the ANC to speak big jargon, or the DA, or any of them currently, because they appeal to their base and they appeal to people they know will vote for that. But when you ask the question, why are more South Africans not voting and not participating in the system? That's when you understand that people don't believe in the system. They don't agree with how they communicate this. They don't think that there's actually solutions being offered by what's on the menu currently.
Yes.
And so it has to be simplified. Politics is when you woke up this morning, my brother, and you said, do I have water in my tap? Because the whole city and province is now
Water shedding.
Do you have electricity? The
Load
quality
shedding.
of that water. Those are decisions made by politicians. Those are decisions made in higher up through legislation at multiple levels. So politics is every day, every life, every second. The challenge is, how do we make people understand that, there's a political decision that was made to say whether or not you can drive in a particular area because it's unsafe, and what they've done with the service of, say, for example, the police, who are not doing their job in that area, so that women can actually feel free in this country. If you must, I mean, as I mentioned, it's where you stay, where you grew up in. All these things have been affected by politics.
Yep.
If I suddenly decide, hey, no, that apartheid thing didn't exist, we must just forget. But I live in Lens, that's 35 kilometers away from the city. How do I access the kind of jobs that I need in the city? There's no effective transport. There's been no, water shedding happens regularly there. There's informal settlements built regularly.
If a power station blew up in Lens, how long do you think it would take to fix?
Weeks and weeks.
A power station blew up in Centurion. I'll say it again, Centurion. Last week, ne? It was fixed within 5 hours. Yeah.
You see, that's
To your
the
point.
quality of service.
Exactly.
And why it's so differentiated is because politics. Politicians decide on those things. Those who are responsible for governing this country are meant to do so, but we've left that to them to decide.
Sure.
And so making sure we have an educated mass of people across this country who understand how the system works is how we start solving these things.
What do you feel is the personality trait of a motivated young voter that differentiates them from everybody else?
Have you voted?
Obvious. A lot of times. Yeah.
And what was your motivation?
What happened in that booth, Tsitsi?
Yeah. Hey, my man. I started seeing, people that look like my grandfather.
Did you start hearing struggle songs?
Then I
Again?
started seeing people. Exactly.
When the voice is in your head.
Yeah, my grandfather is saying, hey, vote for me, but I know my grandfather stole. You understand?
What is your grandfather?
He's my grandfather, And then there's this other bro that my grandfather told me not to like. And that guy is also saying, vote for me, right? And I'm also, there's younger brothers there also saying, let's change. So you're looking at all these things. It's a lot of emotion. It's like vote. It's like I grew up in a pirates family, but sometimes when
So
pirates
sorry
is
about
not-
that.
Yeah, no, Bagania for life. Or even this, that I just said it now. Bagania for life. For what? Yeah, that's it. Like I don't. I'm gonna die for a team. They lose. I must affect my emotions. So that's the kind of stuff
Which is
that
often.
what goes. Yeah. That's the kind of stuff that goes on into that thing. It's like, it's complicated. And it's too complicated for the less privileged. Because the lesser privileged you are, the more you can't deal with complications in your lives. If you don't have water, for a person with a car, you can just go drive and buy water. If you don't have a car, it just gets worse. And you don't have, it just gets worse. So I wouldn't say I'm motivated by anything at the moment. I just say I'm doing it because I know it's my duty. It's difficult to motivate any young person to do something that doesn't show change, because young people, we're used to seeing change right now. We study, we write a test, we get our marks, and we know exactly how much change in our brain has happened.
So now here you vote for how many years?
So look, man, you spoke about something very
That's
important
a
that happened in that
point.
booth, right? You spoke about every emotion every voter goes through in that booth. You spoke about seeing your grandfather, seeing the guy your grandfather taught you not to like. Not that you don't like.
Not
you
having
were
your
taught
own,
not to like. Then there's the other guy who used to be your grandfather's best friend, but fought with your grandfather and decided to open his own shop. And then you also mentioned the young guys. But you brushed past the young guys. You're like, I see some also young guys trying what. So in that mindset, right, when you're in there, where is your pen leaning towards? Because you've established that there's also the young guys who are trying to do something.
Yeah.
As a young voter, which is what you literally asked just now, what motivates a young voter? Why isn't your pen going down towards the young party?
Because the only people that know, I will ask Irfaan as well, right? The only people that know young voters are the Mkonto Sizwe Brews, who are of color. The only revolutionaries that we know in this country are old people, because they'll tell you the stories about those guys. Imagine when Mandela and them were young, and 27 years before he went to jail, everybody was young who was trying to fight. Like you were saying, like Chris Hani was running a young man, you know. Steve Biko, they were young men.
Which one is this
We
one?
don't have that. When I grew up, all politicians were old. Mandela was...
They still are.
Yeah.
It's the same ones. It's the same ones.
Not anymore.
So yeah, not anymore. But when you're trying to look for a thing to sign, you're only taught that politics was a old person sport. And now we don't. There's no, like, we need to make it cool or something. When they make it cool, they go fill up the stadium. Why?
Here it is.
Casper did it.
It's right here.
So yeah. I mean, how do you make politics cool? How do you appeal to young people?
Yes.
I mean, you and I both were engaged in adverts during FISMA's fall in different ways.
Hey! Did you guys smell tear gas during
We
FISMA's fall?
closed the gate together.
Closed the gates. We got.
Oh, you guys were holder of FISMA's fall. Hold on.
Yeah, no. No, in many ways.
You were
it was
holding the
tough.
gate, my
I
brother.
was holding the gate. And in my first year, I didn't know what I was going into. There.
First year.
First year.
Yeah,
And,
2015.
and what did you go and study?
Education.
So you went to go study education. There you are just trying to be an educator. Next thing you are dodging rubber bullets and tear gas.
I even collected those rubber bullets because I was like, no, I must remember these ones.
Evidence.
When they shot us, we must remember.
Yes.
Let's go vote them out.
Right.
But
So yes, you guys were in the FISMA's fall movement. You were holding the gate, Titi.
My brother. I was supportive.
he was very
I
supportive.
was very supportive. But I think the problem was, okay.
What were you doing? Don't say the problem.
I held the gate for one day or one. Then they rocked us with tear gas. My brother, let me tell you. Hey, it's not easy, that thing. Hey, no, bro, tear gas makes you cry. Like, it makes you cry, your nose is bleeding, whatever. So the next day, I was like, let me take a break today. But tomorrow, again, I'll be a tear gas.
Part-time activist.
No, exactly. Because, you know, I grew up in a privileged home where I can do that.
Where you can
I can opt in and opt out.
Oh, yes.
And that was the beauty of what FISMA's fall meant for us as a generation. I think it was the start of us defining what a new generational mission would be.
Yeah.
It wasn't the end, but it gave us the tools and the vision of what's possible. Because I mean, people of the EFF, of ANC, I was in the PYA at the time, of other smaller parties, were able to put down the affiliation and say there's a bigger thing we have to do. And we have to fight for. And that's the vision that Rise really wants to get to, is that there's a vision of a country we're not defining.
Yeah.
We're all busy saying, no, this one is like this one is like this, these are the problems.
Not
but
the
not
bigger
saying,
picture.
how do we collectively solve for this thing?
We need to market you guys. We need, like, the marketing, the guys that are doing something down there or something. Because that's why they're selling every day. We're seeing Mandela's face, you know, like.
We don't have a choice. He's on the money, dog.
That's what I'm talking about. You know, even the goats are complaining that the back.
Which note is a goat?
I mean, the animals. The lion is like, I used to be a face of the 50 rand. Look now. I'm the background.
Hey, Bobo.
Speaking of money, Ephraim, what does change look like to you?
Change.
See what you did there.
Change means that we must truly transform this country into a working country, a country that has everyone's dignity respected, where no mother in the Eastern Cape is committing murder-suicide because she's hungry.
Sure.
Which happened, by the way, in the last few weeks, in fact, twice. And so change means that we respect each other's rights, but we able to make sure every home has enough resources to live a decent life.
How do we start, Irfaan? How do we start, my brother? Like, you know, we're speaking about Fees Must Fall, and I remember during the Fees Must Fall movement, I mean, at that time I was obviously out of varsity, already living my dreams, third job, you know, child, everything. Loiso Gol and I, in fact, brought waters and bananas and stuff for the protesters, right? That's what we're doing during Fees Must Fall. But I remember during that time, I had this feeling of like, finally, the young people have decided enough is enough. You could see it from all the clips with young people going, yeah, we are not our parents. We are not our parents. We're not going to fall for this, man.
Yeah.
You know,
It was tense.
and that for me felt like a moment of change. I was like, okay,
Revolutionary
things are changing. And when I saw how committed the young people of this country were to that change, I was like, I think we are in the right hands. We're in the right era. We're heading in the right direction, right? A lot of people started comparing it to what happened in 76, right? Again, it was the youth uprising again. What needs to happen for us to change? So I know you're saying we need to sort out all these things, but in order for us to get there, we have to change.
Yeah.
And please be as radical and as honest as you must be. Do we need to start overthrowing people? Do we need to?
Overthrew people.
Do we need to march? Do we need to fight? Do we need to import other legal experts? Do we need to hire the CIA to bust the people? What needs to happen in this country? Because I said it last week and I'll say it again. I feel like we're hostages in this country. We are hostages. We know who the criminals are. We know what crimes they've committed. We know where they live. We know where they're driving at any moment in their brigades or whatever, but nothing is being done. What do we as the youth do? What do you guys? What needs to happen?
Or we?
You guys as the youth and myself. What like as
It's okay, I also have some gray hairs.
bro? What do we need to do as the young people? Like we're tired of everything. We're tired. Nothing works. We're tired of being told, yeah, but I fought for you in apartheid. Thanks, bro, but we're tired.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's the slogan for young people. We're tired.
We are.
Sure. What is the vision for that? Or what is the action that comes of it?
Yes.
So you're mentioning something being held hostage. Yeah. Who's holding us hostage?
The powers that be.
How many are there?
Oof. How big is our cabinet?
It's a room divided, I think.
See what you did there, Titi, because dividing the room. Unity.
That was nice and shiny, Mr. Man.
So the reason why...
Which one is this one?
Yeah, hey? The reason I'm asking you is because I don't think they outnumber us at all.
They don't.
They're a very small amount.
They don't, right? And that's why
so crazy.
they don't, and that's why I'm saying, like, if you think everyone is always saying there's a revolution bubbling under in this country, right? Like what happened in France when the poor people decided to revolt, right?
Yeah.
In this country, we're there. We're aware of what these small group of people are doing to all of us, and it's a small number of them, right? But again, we're hostages in the country. I'll go back to what happened with Andre de Ruyter, the ESCOM guy, right? He started revealing that there's a cartel in Mpumalanga of 75 people that basically run this Eskom mafia and what. And I'm like, so you're telling me a nation of 58, 60 million people are afraid of 75 people with guns? 75 brewers are responsible for switching off and on your electricity because they benefit from it, and we're all bang. Do you understand? Do we have the power as the country, as youth, to challenge those 300 people or those 75 people?
They're slightly more than that, but yes, we do. I mean, the last election, there have been sort of 14 million odd young people who can register to vote and actually vote that aren't voting.
That didn't.
That did.
14 meters.
14
There was
million.
14 million. So here's where it gets even more interesting. Is the ANC had about 10 million odd. The second biggest party, the DA, had about 3.6, 3.8.
Yeah.
The EFF, the third largest, had 2 point something million. Collectively, if you weigh those numbers onto the rest of the 40 million who are just not interested, they're thinking this thing is just not working. We're not there yet, and we're not inspired by what's on this menu. We could actually change things. The problem we've been sitting with in this country is that too many people think they don't have power. We are powerless, and we feel it.
Because we feel tired. We feel
tired.
we
It's
feel like
exhausting.
sometimes we don't know what's, because everything is so corrupt. We sometimes think even that is rigged. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You go to this, and it's a small thing. Go to this Spaza, the bread is now 25 rand. There's nothing you can do. You are just gonna have to find a 5 rand.
Which one is this one?
Contrary to popular opinion, there is something you can do. Because that the cost of living crisis is a political crisis. It's the fact that the economy is managed by, again, a couple of people who are trying to make sure we balance the books and whatever. And so these prices have been increasing over the years.
Yeah.
But it's political decisions. But why are we leaving those decisions to politicians we don't believe in, who we don't actually think are solving the problem for us? Because why should the price of bread be so expensive when we actually don't have food on the table? And so we have to shift the narrative that these politicians are the ones who must decide for us. Democracy works by us saying we want this thing to work for us.
Wawana, now you're talking my language.
Irfaan, my brother, I want to know those, because I'm still stuck on the 14 million people that aren't doing anything, right?
Yo.
Not that they aren't doing anything.
Well, they're not voting. Yeah, they're not interested in voting. What can we do to activate those people? Like, how do we get that group of people to be interested in voting and get them to come and actually vote?
I think it's what we spoke about last week when we said, I don't think some of them know that by not voting, they are voting. So if you don't vote, your number of votes go into the majority. So when they understand that, they'll make sure that, okay, I'd rather vote. And if the party I voted for doesn't win, I'd rather have tried than just leave it to the hands of the majority.
So then I want to do a two-part question then to say, does the majority, does the ruling party understand that it benefits by people not voting? Do you think that they indirectly make sure that they don't campaign voting to a vast majority of people
Because
strategically?
if they don't vote, they win the
And then
floating
lastly,
votes.
it's what I asked you. What can the rest of us as a country, what needs to be done in order to let people know, hey guys, let's go vote?
Okay. I think let me start with that one, right? Rise is saying we need an alternative. You don't just need another party. You need a strong enough movement of people who are going to actively work to solve the issues, because it's complex. There's no easy answer to the issues we're solving. But the way we get there is by each one of us in this room, in society, in our communities, in our church, sports teams, being able to say, okay, how do we contribute to those solutions? And not just go and play soccer, but say, why are we playing on fields that actually don't even have goalposts, but there was a budget allocated for kids? And
There was a ribbon cutting.
There was a ribbon cutting.
There was a ribbon cutting, and there was plastic chairs in the back that flew.
And
They
then
were flying everywhere.
and you know what's the thing that hurts me the most? Then they're gonna say, yeah, poverty brings creativity. We can imagine this goalpost.
Who said that?
No, they say that, bro. Like making it out of poverty is creative, bro. You have to be the most creative person with food, with everything. Pops, you said it. With brokinity comes
creativity.
Exactly. So now they will praise you years later for doing all these things and then make it seem like all that stuff that happened was cool. You know?
Back to what you were saying, my brother. Yes.
No, it's exactly that. It's the ability for every citizen in this country to say, this thing is going wrong. I have a stake in it. What
Yes.
do I do about it?
Yes.
And start small wherever you are. Because what we're trying to get to is a nation again that is working, that is everyone saying, I'm willing to solve an issue. We'll disagree on certain things, but we can agree that there's a problem of water in our community. There's a problem of young people not having access to creative programs, arts and recreation. And then there's drug problems, right? So every community we've been to now is saying drugs is a problem, crime is a problem. You don't solve those things simply by saying it's government alone that must solve it. Why are they not doing anything? Yes, they must take a big portion of the responsibility.
Yes,
Because the
yes.
justice system is really not bringing justice to communities that we work and live in. So we need an active citizenry movement. If you want an example of this, the history of the UDF, of people encouraging all sectors of society to get involved in the fight against apartheid. So there were sports teams, cricket, soccer, whatever, who are saying, let's build a consciousness in here so we can show people that this is how the system works and this is what we can do to solve it as a team. So we show up in solidarity with other people, other causes that are fighting this good fight.
Yeah.
And that in itself will start solving this other question you asked. How do we get those people excited and interested? So I'm excited because my role at RISE is the head of Civic Alliance. So what this means is I must build alliances with my young team in communities far and wide. Not just alliances between big organizations, but with where people are at. So the soccer team you play for, how do we bring politics to them? So politics can't be left for parliament and for union buildings and for places that young people are not frequenting. You must take politics to grow.
Yes.
And then make sure that you can actually make young people understand why politics matters. But
Bro,
at Groove.
it's funny you should say that because they've brought church to Groove.
Yeah.
Halfway through Groove, they play gospel.
Yeah, actually.
And they do praises, then we get back to Groove. So that little 5-10 minutes reminds you that, hey, you might be grooving now, but tomorrow Sunday, you need to be in church.
And
you're there in church with a hangover. But it works.
actually-
Right?
Yeah.
You're right. We need to find spaces where people are at. As a young person, I'm not going to go to the community center to go here.
To listen to
Yeah. But if you find me
The
at a place
honorable-
where I'm at a skate park, at a what, then I'm more likely to engage.
Absolutely. And it's across things. I mean, you can involve, I've been doing artivist workshops. In Mabopane, I hosted about 13 to 15 young artist groups, theater, dance, music, all keen to produce this type of art that speaks about what does a new democracy look like?
Sure.
What does freedom mean for us who don't taste freedom? Because genuinely, as a born free, I don't think we actually have freedom.
No.
So it's those types of things that you take politics to where people are, you make it, you bring it in the language that people understand.
Yes.
If I only understand sports, then make sports
References.
Yeah, create the dynamics that show young people why it's important to be involved in some way.
the
What do you
importance of
think-
being involved.
Yeah. What role do you think the IEC should play in this thing? Because I feel like the IEC needs to also cater for all types of voters. Because right now it's only like there must be a lifestyle voter, who votes in a botanical garden. There must be
A group
a group voter who votes at group instead in the toilet, like
Mara re ka se vote ko konka, Joe.
Ra voter. But that's
No, but
the thing.
we should, because that's an attractive place to go and vote. Do you understand? If
And
there's
the
a voting
solution-
station at Konka, I'm more likely to go there because at least after I vote, I can find a young XO. You understand?
So after voting for a party, it's in an after party.
You understand?
You get it.
You
now.
understand?
To take it to the people.
Because whatever the solution is, and I feel what you're saying is that it needs to be
Accessible.
unconventional. The only solutions that we have now are unconventional because they've taught us how to fight them so that they know exactly where we're coming from. So that we're fighting them on, you go into, public broadcasters, all they ask is, especially when they're talking to small parties. I was watching your interview, all they ask, how is your party different from the other parties? What are you going to say?
Well, we've got 4 colors. We've got a purple, we've got a red, a yellow, and a green. Because we rise together. It's a colored party. Not for colored people, it's got colors. No, I'm just saying that's the response they expect.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Because they don't give media to Irfaan. We need Irfaan to be the coolest guy out there, for people to know what. Because we know more about celebrities that tell us nothing than we know about people that are actually affecting the price of bread.
That's what Irfaan is saying. He's saying, go to where the people are at. Where are the people? They are listening to the people that tell us nothing. They are consuming the people's content who tell us nothing. How do I wiggle my way there? How do I find a place for people to see my message in a way that is not the old conventional way? We can always make radio ads saying, guys, please don't forget to vote. Doesn't make me want to vote. But if I have a powerful scene in the river about voting and politics and this and then it's something that's gonna stay with me because you put it in a space where I'm
already consuming the content.
I'm consuming this content
watching the
Monday to
stuff.
Friday. I'm there. Now you found a way to bring me into the conversation, to shed a light on what needs to happen there. Instead of waiting for the ad break that I'm either going to fast forward or change channel while it's playing.
Sure, that's dope. Integrating it in the lifestyle and the culture.
But that's what you're saying is we need to integrate it in all aspects, in sports, in where we play,
music.
where we hang out, in music.
So one of the I think substantial points that is being raised currently in this conversation is about a culture shift. So what does a culture shift mean for politics? It means I'm not going to go protest every day and burn tires to close the roads. That's not yielding the results we need because the people in power are like, okay, we'll just throw the police at you.
Or we'll let you start.
We'll let you do what you need to do. You
After
get
2
tired.
days, you'll be tired.
Exactly.
Either way, you'll be tired.
And that's partly what happened with Field Mass 4.
Yeah. Hey, you can't stand there. Hey, man, we stood there working in Pretoria. Union buildings. Hey, we stood out there, my man. And then the hunger started in. And then that bro selling cool time started walking too fast too many times. And then you didn't have cash on you. There's no speed points or anything like that. After a while, you're like, hey, gents, can't we fight tomorrow?
Which again is the thing, is the culture shift about politics. Moving away from resistance to building a nation, building governance systems that work. So that when you call and you go, or rather if you go to a Home Affairs line, you're not standing there for hours. You know this thing is efficient, click and you sort the thing out. The problem we're having is the attitude the nation has to politics has been soured because the politicians we have in the current establishment just don't care. They don't listen to people. They don't engage communities, frankly, honestly. And you need to start shifting that. It's difficult because, to shift behavior takes a lot of work.
And time.
It's accountability to yourself, people around you. So it's that question about, some people just don't care. I think people are worried about the future. They just need to be shown that that future is something you have to be building. It's that saying we have at Rise is that we are the ones we've been waiting for. There's no Messiah who's coming to fix our problems. If we're not going to rise up and do the thing itself, no one's going to solve it.
Can I ask you a question, bro? And again, I'm going back to the current people in power. Why do you think we never get an apology? No, like, can I be honest with you? That's one thing that really messes with me, bro. It's like, you've just done something. We know you've done something. You're addressing us about the thing that's been done.
I'm sorry.
No, I've never, with everything that's happened in the last, let's say from COVID till now, with funds being looted in a time of distress, and I mean, that's a crime against humanity, right?
Yeah.
Also, for the life of me, I don't understand how half a trillion disappears, but it did. You know what I mean? Even in us, arts and culture, there was 300 million that was assigned to help all of us. It disappeared, right? Like with all these things, and I'm just mentioning a few surface things, but with everything else involved, you know, like the poisoning of our water because some guys were upset that their tenders were not getting as many millions as they wanted. No one has ever come and said sorry. No one, including citizen number one, has ever come out and said, guys, sorry. But when his Buffalo is not performing, he can phone that guy and say, hey, sorry, man. Right?
But to the country. I've never heard an apology. And I can't remember the last time any politician has ever said, guys, this thing, we did it didn't work out, it failed, we're so sorry. We're going to try and fix it. I've never heard anyone say sorry. Why is it hard for us? Why is it hard to apologize? Do you think it's because it's an admission of guilt?
Yeah, and wrong. It's like you won't apologize if you didn't do anything wrong. And now because we know you're wrong and you've admitted that you're wrong by saying sorry, yeah, we can't have someone that's wrong. As if everyone is perfect, which no one is.
They also just don't believe they're wrong. In their heads, it's fine. Like they're just going to manage the thing and they'll come out and fix it. But
we've been fixing it for how many years?
And that's what I'm saying. A culture shift means attitude change.
That's what brought up that question, right?
Look, I genuinely just think they don't care. Yesterday I woke up and the headline news was 2 million rand was spent on 2 laptops in some municipality.
Hey.
I'm so sorry to laugh.
What kind of laptops are these ones?
They're not MacBooks, because they wouldn't have used the word laptop.
Yeah, I know.
They're not even the most expensive ones.
I know, actually.
That's so true.
You know what I mean?
What is the timeline of if everything were radically in a good space? What's the timeline? Because I feel like
of this shift.
Of the shift, because especially for young people, like, you know, I don't want to work for freedom and then don't live in it. And then I'm a struggle hero. Don't call me a struggle hero.
You don't have what it takes to be a struggle hero.
I don't want to struggle so much that I'm a hero. Imagine you struggle so much, then that man is a hero. Yeah. I wanna have a.
You enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, and the thing is, right now, everybody's is at a point of like, if they hear something that can really work and it makes sense to them, I believe will follow it, bro. Mm-hmm. I believe like now is the time to actually just say, you know what, I'm gonna take a risk.
We have an opportunity to unify the youth because
we really
unlike our parents, we grew up around each other. We were exposed to each other's cultures, each other. You know what I mean? And that's why I love that comment you made earlier, Tsitsi, about the person my father taught me to hate. Because every particular race, every particular tribe teaches their kids, these people do this, these people don't do this, you know what I mean? But as the kids of this country, bro, we grow up together.
We've got our own experience.
We have our own language, our own lingos, our own experiences. We go to each other's parties. We go, you know what I mean? Like, we get along. It's the old people that don't get along, right? So I feel like that thing also needs to happen with us, with the young people of the country. Yeah. To Tsitsi's question, what's the time frame? Should we get this right to turn things around and instill that culture? And how do we get all the young people to understand that you as Rise are trying to speak with one voice to all of them?
You know, fees must fall. The day we were at the Union buildings, I held a poster that said, you sold our parents' dreams. We're here for the refund.
Sure. Saw that one.
Yeah, it was on TV.
Yes.
It was.
It was on
And-
TV,
and
yeah.
I felt so strongly by it that I made this poster and I went there with it. And it reminds me of the origin story of my consciousness work, of how I actually started understanding what the system is about.
Sure.
Fast forward, Rise has put forward this idea that we need to make 2024 our 1994. And what does that mean? It means in 1994, there was a promise of a new country, a new nation that could be born. And yet, those promises have not been delivered. Almost next year would be 30 years for this democracy.
Yeah.
And for us who lived in those 30 years, who were born here, who felt the existence of what it's like to deal with, just failure upon failure, we think we need to shift that now and turn things around and reset what democracy should be. For the people, by the people, has meaning. It means that each of us have a stake in this democracy. And if we have a stake, we surely must be invested in how it actually runs. And therefore, we believe in one generation, we need to be able to build a prosperous country, a country that is equal and safe, and a country that really is dignified for people to live in, where you don't have the kind of experiences that I've related of murder suicide, of the increased rape and GBV, all these things that are affecting our daily lived experience. But we say one generation because it's not an easy task. There's no simple solutions or easy solutions. And it's tough for young people because you were saying, we like instant gratification. But these things are complex, and it requires us to get down to a point where we say, we're going to have to make some compromises. But those compromises would mean when we are fathers, when we are grandfathers, the young people who come up after us don't have to experience the really experience that we're experiencing today. And I think that generational mission is defined not for just young people, but for the old people who are saying this is not what we fought or sacrificed.
Yeah, them too.
Them too have a big role to play. And I'm glad that I'm part of an ecosystem of people like that who are saying, we gave up our lives for this thing. We went to serve in Nkonto Esizwe and many other things. Surely this thing is not what we imagined. And so they have a bigger stake, in fact, to say we have to help the young people turn this around with our wisdom, with our experience, and we'll get there in one generation.
I think in order for us to all have a stake in this country, we need to really grab the bull by the horns.
Which one is this one?
Hey.
What?
It's a slick line.
I could see it coming because it's such a meaty conversation.
No, bro, and again, we made the statement again last week when we were with Verify that, because I at first, I made a joke. I was like, I think the best solution is to get rid of all the old people. But in reality, right, the truth is we need everyone to work together. And we need a balance because we need the wisdom of old people. And then we need the wisdom of the people who are not as old as the old people, but have experience from coming from the generation they come from. We basically need a balance of every single type of generation that represents this country and its development over the years. And then on top of that, we need every demographic. Yeah. And then on top of that, we need... Yes. We need every gender. We need every sexual preference. I don't know what it's called, to the communities, right? We need... sexual orientation, Sammy. Yeah.
Which one is this one?
Yeah.
Everyone needs to be represented, is what I'm saying, right? But I'm gonna play the devil's advocate with you right now, and I'm gonna ask what the common person who's watching is thinking. Who is Rise? What race is Rise? What culture? What religion? Who are the people in Rise? When Rise comes to power, who are the people that they're going to put in these power positions? What communities are they from? What city do they represent? And that's what I want to basically find out from you, because as a normal on the ground South African, that's immediately what we think when we think new party. Who's the guy?
Yeah.
Who's he representing? Is he for Muslim people only? Does he represent for Christians? Is he black, white, Indian, Muslim, colored? What is he? You know?
Rise is made up of South Africans from all walks of life. What we have is the NLC, which is called the National Leadership Collective.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the lottery.
Not the law. We'll solve many issues if we can
Get that money. Yeah, but unfortunately, there were some tsotsis.
many.
What happened?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You guys don't get that?
Please explain it quickly.
It's because you forgot the bonus ball.
No. Well,
Oh, the movie number 10.
no.
What?
That was happened. Well, you remember when the lotto numbers were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? That was the thing that started all the corruption there.
First of all, that's way too many numbers for the lotto. It was
1, 2,
Which one is this
4,
one?
5, 6.
7. Bonus.
Powerball.
So what I'm saying is that's what started it. Imagine the lotto happens so many times. What's the coincidence that it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
I don't think you got the tsotsi reference.
I did. I know. He's my friend.
Hi. Seeing as though that's such a pressing issue. Back to you, my brother. Who is Rise?
The NLC is what we call the collective of leaders. And Rise believes that we're not going to solve this by big man politics, which means you're not going to have a divine leader who's going to be
The Messiah.
a Messiah. And so collectives of people who are credible, who are ethical, who come from different constituencies and represent South Africa as a whole. I mean, I've, as I said, come from civil society. I also have a racial identity. I also have a gendered identity and so on. The people on our NLC are equally like this, led by the able Songezo Zibi, who comes from a journalist background, who had been in business from rural Eastern Cape. He has his roots. And there are many others. I mean, you have Lawrence Manaka, who is in his early 20s, who has a seat at the table of leading Rise. So it's not about, putting us in a youth league or a youth chapter. We're actually saying, for us to get there, we have to have a full collective of all experiences of all groups so that we can actually represent the broad vision this country wants to build. And therefore, what is Rise? Rise is an alternative movement. It's a movement that is trying to challenge the political culture we have, introduce new political culture, but with full view that politics has not worked for the majority of people in this country. And so who we represent is an important question. Even though I might be privileged, I may not just represent the same privileged people who look like me, who believe in the same things that I do. But primarily the focus should be on those who aren't benefiting from the system, the people who are living off grants, who don't believe that there's actually an opportunity to work because there's no jobs. When you go and apply, it even costs more for you to go job hunt than it is for you to put food on the table. And so you actually make those sacrifices. Those are people who we're engaging and trying to represent as a political movement. I think overall, Rise is trying to say, so we can't leave this to politicians to decide. So we made up of ordinary citizens, people who just genuinely came together and said, there's a miss, something's gone amiss. And for us to figure this out, we have to have political experience, which we do. We have to have people from business, which we do. We have to have people from religious sectors, which we do, etc., etc. And so I can say with a great degree of certainty that the one great thing about Rise is that we've struck a good balance of being a very youthful organization. We have, most of us are young. Songezo is in his 40s, but everyone is between the ages of 20 up until 40, and even Ntate-ish, Ntate,
His name is Ishmael.
Ishmael, yes.
That is.
That's an old person. That one. No young person is named Ishmael.
So people like that who have huge history in the struggle, but who are there to say this thing went wrong, I also want to help self-correct.
Yeah.
So you have a broad variety of people who are in the room and who represent the broader interest of their constituencies. The one question you asked, which is very interesting, about how are we going to select our people who must go represent us?
Yes.
It's part of this discussion of renewing and resetting what democracy should be. Do you know who's the MP or MPL deployed to your area?
Nope. And I don't care. No, because I'm tired, bro. I'm tired. To me, it's the same thing. I'm at that point, all right? I'm at Khatfall thing. Because me getting invested in who this person is, I'm just like, I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a road that collapsed where I live on
Yeah.
Hendrik Potgieter. Collapsed last year, August. Bruh, I watched all the videos in China during lockdown and everything. Those guys were building hospitals in 10 days.
24
They're fixing
hours.
roads in 6 days. They're still fixing that road, my dog.
It's not funny anymore.
It's not. When you start seeing how it actually affects you, like you said, politics is every day. Because for months, traffic is bad, dog. It takes me an hour to take my kid to school, which is 20 minutes away. Takes an hour, right? And that road, we watched it all collapse, and then we watched nothing happen to it because we must go through a tendering process and we must select. And then once the thing is done, you realize if we finish construction of this thing now, we're not going to make as much money as if we drag it out. So now it's been dragged out because people are making money off of an unfortunate incident that happened to a major road.
Hectic.
I'm not talking. This is the main road in the West,
And
right?
also puts people's lives at risk, right? I mean, people can die from an accident like
Yes, right. So to answer you, I don't know, and I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm no longer invested as I used to be.
Okay. And I'm asking you this because I think there's a deeper question about what we envision leaders to be. So who would you like to be leading you from your constituency or your area? What would if you could tick a couple of boxes that give them the credibility to
Like
lead?
someone who hears you, someone who makes sure they're transparent, someone who makes sure I get you.
You know, the dream we were sold with our current number one was that he is a business maverick, right? And he has lots of money. So we were like, if there's a guy who's not gonna steal, it's this guy. He's got billions.
Boom.
We were like, if there's a guy who's gonna get us out of the economic situation we're in, it's this guy, because brilliant businessman. Like you know what I mean? And obviously what happened, and what's happening is happening. But for me, that's how I want to select that person, right? I have this dream that we should treat our areas like we do soccer teams. In a soccer team, you want to hire the best players. You pay top dollar for them. But most importantly, you fight for coaches, right? You want to make sure you have the best coach. And it doesn't matter where that coach comes from, right? Sometimes you have a Brazilian coach coaching a team of fully English-speaking people.
Yeah.
We'll get translators if we need to. Why are we getting a guy who doesn't speak English? It's not about the English. It's about what he can do on the ground. It's what he can do with the players, right? How do we get Pizzo to go and coach in Al Ahly? You know what I mean? So for me, I want us to start adapting that mindset that we just need to get the best person for the job. If the position requires someone who's got good business acumen, who's got accounting, we need someone like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't want to have a transport minister who has a learner's license. You know what I mean? I want to know that you can drive. I want to know that you know something about
That is
this.
a great example.
You know, I want to know that from being a person on the ground and understanding fundamentally what you've been brought in here to do, you can deliver on that.
Yeah.
Then I'll be comfortable. Before I can start ticking off the other boxes of like, oh, and they're black. Oh, and they're female. Oh, and they're Christian.
Yeah.
Before I tick those boxes, I want to know if you can do the thing.
I agree. And I think that's exactly the model that Rise has been speaking about. In fact, we've used the same soccer analogy because we said we need the A squad to lead this country.
First team.
The first team.
Yeah.
And in the B team, sure, there's a couple of players we know who can replace them. But like you're saying, you need the coach who has the right plan. And so where does the plan come from, number one? For the last 5 months since we launched, we've been consulting communities far and wide. All those communities you're asking who we represent, we've gone to engage them. Professionals, women, youth, etc. Rural and urban. We're saying, what do you think the solution should be as the people who are faced with these challenges? So it's a new type of listening politics that we've really pushed out into the country, geographically and everywhere else. The reason we've done this is because to shift that political culture, we can't be given the plan from someone else randomly. It has to come from where people must operate, the actual people. So these 5 months consulting, we've been getting flack because people are saying, but I don't know your policies, And so we're saying, where do you think policies must come from? It can't just be, I can't decide it in a boardroom.
And then come and tell you what it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we need the experience.
We have to create it together.
Exactly. The people who know what to do, who are engaging these issues daily, to come forward with a plan. Outside of that is a process we call internal democracy process. So how do we pick that first team? The first squad, that may not be the Buccaneers, but we want to get it to a level where
Of Sundowns, yeah.
Of Sundowns.
Yes.
And
We
so,
want the winning team here, guys.
True. And my dad will be very happy because he likes Sundowns. And that's a call to South Africans to say, what is your country duty? Are you capable of being the arts and culture minister? Is that actually a priority for this next government? The reason we're doing this is because, as I said, we're not going to be able to do a shopping list of issues.
Yeah.
But we as a country have to prioritize what are the key issues we need to solve. And once you understand what issues we're solving, so if it's a transport issue, we can't bring someone who doesn't even understand what a car is or what a train is.
Someone that's not driven by change.
In that particular sector. And so that's what we need, is to put up the best 11. And in this context, the most capable, most ethical, most experienced people who can actually get the job done, with the balance that you come from constituencies. So a direct democracy model that says, I have the capability, I represent youth. If you need to host a march tomorrow, I can get 2,000, 3,000 youth, just on the streets, because that's my constituency. That's the people who believe that I'm the right person for the job and who wants to follow me. So you start shifting the democratic model away from what we currently have, because they're chowing money just being deployed to constituency areas, but they do nothing there. You've never been consulted for any bill that was put in parliaments on the roll. So now, how do you expect to influence democracy if you've never been engaged on how the democracy should work?
My brother, we are victims of corruption in this country. That's the one thing, that's the one thing we're scared of. What are you guys doing to ensure, what are there systems in place? Let's say going forward, you get put into position of power. Someone in your organization decides, hey, I also want to look out for my family or whatnot. A bit of brown enveloping starts happening. What systems do you have in place to ensure that justice is served for people like that, and that you are held accountable if a situation like that should arise?
One judge, hey.
Starting a beef.
There's a lot, and I think we've spoken to some of it, the change of culture, so our own attitudes and things around this. And I say this because at a very local level, we've, as a people, just haven't actually bothered about what is our accounting responsibility on public infrastructure. So we go to a police station, we don't ask the police commander, how much money have you been given for this month? What have you used that money on in your budget? What have you solved in this month? We've not done that work. The same thing you can do for a library. I mean, there's budget allocated, public money. What programs have you run in this library?
Sure.
The same thing with a recreation center. I mean, so many artists, every community has the most amazing young artists. sports teams, but they're always grappling because that person they decided I closing this on the weekend, I need to rest. That's not account. You must demand that they respect the rule of law, the agreement that they signed when they joined as a person who wants to work there, and the community's wishes, because that is a community institution. So it's shifting our own responsibility as citizens of this country. Rise is also saying we need deep political reform. The fact that you don't know your MP or MPL is because the system is designed for you to be on the periphery of democracy. And so you actually have to change the system so that if you're living in this community and you think the MP has not engaged you or not accounted to you, you have a right to say, no, you've not done your work. And in 2 years say, no, we need you to be out and kicked out because you've not done what you were elected by us to go and do. So the same sports team, I mean, the owners of the sports team are going to say, no, if you're not delivering and you're not winning the leagues or the tournaments, you're going to be sold or you're going to be kicked out. Many coaches, in fact, have this problem. And that's the reality. We the owners of this democracy. Every one of us, the 60 million odd.
So
And
we
must be able to say, no,
it's not working. Let's kick the guy. I love that. I love that. So Irfaan,
sorry.
yeah. So what do
I
you
want to play devil's advocate one last time. There's a lot of things, especially even in this interview, that we are kind of not saying, and we're pushing, like, you say public broadcaster instead of saying the name. And there's a lot of things here that we've spoken about. And that's because I can guarantee you now, I'm scared for my life, bro. Like
we all are, bro.
Like, we're all scared for our lives because there's a big intimidation factor around speaking about things like this, right? And we could have a bigger conversation right now where it's deeper, it's more detailed, it has names, it has, numbers, it has all those things. But we are not afforded that ability to do that. And what I hear from you, it sounds a bit like you're going to open up that channel and let people have at least the voice to say something before and not worry about. But how are we not going to worry about this spanking that we might get, whether it's your job, whether it's opportunities, whether it's your physical, harm. How do we do? Because they've placed that. That's what I'm scared of. Yeah, that's what we're scared of.
What is your question?
I asked it.
Okay. My brother.
It's cutting the answer now. No, I'm saying, how do we eliminate this thing that we are scared of from talking about our policies, from talking about, because
the fear of using your freedom of speech.
Yes.
How do we eliminate the fear of using our freedom of speech?
That's exactly what I said.
In a statement version. That's a good question or a good statement.
Good statement, good question.
I think there's a big responsibility on all of us, yourselves, myself, every part of society, to actually start being more critical about democracy and politics. We can't leave it to just politicians to decide.
Yeah.
And so this shift, dealing with that fear, means that we have to create a new culture where it becomes okay to speak. It becomes okay for us not to feel the repercussions. Other democracies, people engage freely. And you can still go back because you're protected by the Constitution and your rights to do so.
Sure.
The problem we have is that because of the violent culture that exists in politics today, it erodes people's trust, it erodes people's ability to actually say, I'm voting this party X, and I'm doing so because 1, 2, 3. You saying you vote party Y because of 1, 2, 3. And you actually debate as human beings, recognizing that we might not have all the answers, but this is what our views and beliefs are. We have to move away from the narrowness in politics that says, because you're ANC, I can't speak to you. Because you're another party, I can't speak to you. I have friends from across the political spectrum, and I do so because it enriches the quality of the outcome. It enriches the quality of our solutions, because, as I said, these are complex issues. Yeah, there's more insights. The ability for democracy to work means that all of us have views, but how do we constructively use those views to shape something and an outcome that we want? So there is fear, and I get it. how we deal with it is by recognizing that our own behaviors, our own articulation of these things are the way we start shifting away. Madiba speaks about courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. And I think we have to get to that mode of realizing that, yes, we're fearful, but we have to also have courage in this time we're in, because if we don't, again, you're just leaving it to others to decide for you.
Sure.
I love that. Irfaan, my brother, we want to do something very unconventional since we have you here. We've never had so many crew members just roll up, just to come and witness. Even one of our guys who we never see here is here, Cage. You can tell by the beret that he's wearing that he's a...
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me to sing a Kujo song.
So we're just going to open up the floor to everyone that's here to ask you a question. So guys, can we keep it short question, no easy questions, please? We'll start with you, David Mashavenda. We'll start with Sammy. Sammy, you're wearing a silk golf shirt and khaki shorts, my brother. You are ready. What is your question?
Ours is a simple one. So because you guys said you don't recognize the whole youth league / openness, would the implications of that be like you drop all those funding institutions? Because I'm just thinking young people now hear that they don't work anyway. And as a business owner, what do I get to look forward to in Rise, like as a business owner? Because all these institutions that are set up, they don't work for us as business owners. When you're looking for funding, you're looking for how does Rise give solution to that? Or is that still coming?
Yes, that's still coming. The statement I made was about internally for Rise. We don't believe that you need a structure just for young people. Because what they do with you there is they say, go and lead young people there. They don't say you as a young person have a capability of leading higher up or leading society. The social scientist Tessa Dooms a couple of months back spoke about the fact that, are we ready to have a 25-year-old or 27-year-old president? If not, why? Ask yourself, if that person has the credibility, experience, expertise, all of that, just because they're young, does that mean that they shouldn't be considered? And so we're trying to introduce a culture that says young people should be at the table when decisions are made and not just at the side. Number two, just on the question of solutions, a lot of that is still coming. Rise believes in a social democratic model, which means justice, solidarity, fairness, equality, and accountability. And what this means is we want to create a fair playing field. So the tender process, for example, is not a fair playing field. BEE, there's huge debate around this, and we're going to discuss and debate it at our convention. I personally think that there's a lot more work can be done around BEE because it's not benefiting the people it's meant to benefit.
Yeah.
And so this is where we need to get down to policy work and our offering to society. By the time January and February comes, you will see what Rise's program of action is to solve this country in one generation.
Hey, there are lots of gardeners and maids, home executives who are owners of large corporations, eh? No, I'm telling you guys the far rates. I'm telling you guys facts. We have a Spiwe. You don't have a call. Okay, Cage, we're going to come to you. Chandre, we're coming to you next, brother. Cage. Yes, and Ghost Lady. Yeah. Please get up.
Just following on from Sam's question, actually. South Africa exists as a very unique country. We're a tale of two cities in many ways. And we're in the unique position where there's a lot of work, but there are no jobs. Please explain why.
Oof.
Like there's a lot of work to be done in this country, but there are no jobs. So.
Oh, yeah, I told you about Cage. I told you.
Barrett,
that Barrett should let you know. There's a lot of work to be done, but there's no jobs. Why, my brother?
The entire system is defunct. The reason why we have a tale of two countries in one country is because we've not dealt with the structural problems that we have. Post-democracy, the rich continue to get rich, poor people remain poor, and if not, poorer. My generation, it's it's far more harder for us to actually get a job, for us to actually afford our first apartment or first shelter that we could pay for ourselves. It's not possible. It was far different in our parents' generation, despite the struggles that they faced. And so the tale of two countries is really one of the structural inequality that exists. It goes down economy. So number one, those in control of the economy have not answered some critical questions about when they create jobs, do those jobs actually alleviate poverty? I was at a lecture at WITS a couple of days ago speaking about the corporate's influence in local government. And we raised this point about, even if you look at some municipalities that are really controlled by a particular business, because that's the only business that hires people in that area. There's no other economy. So take a mine.
Like Sasol in Secunda.
So take a Sasol, take a mine. They do the community responsibility programs. Those programs are designed to simply deal with the immediate needs, the reactionary needs. So you put up a school perhaps, but that you don't say what is the quality of the education you're supporting in that school that can get the same community out of the cycle of poverty that exists. And so if you go, you'll see the few developments, you drive further down, people are still living in squalor as a result of the fact that you have the responsibility and we should actually legislate for how private sector operates within the system. And I say this because I know and I feel it daily. When I was a manager at my previous work, we used to get hundreds of applications for one job, entry level. People with PhDs and masters applying to an entry-level job that they just need a job to survive and pay bills. I think a lot of this question is answered by dismantling the oppressive structures that exist, but that comes down to the complexity of how we design policy to shift away from, at multiple levels, whether it's agriculture, mining, banking, whatever. I think there's a model that we just don't have currently that's speaking to breaking those structures.
We've got a question all the way from King Williamstown.
How's it? How are you doing?
Good.
It's actually first a statement, then a question. Like, I'm very not fond at how our politics works, basically. Because we can't choose like one person to be president. We basically choose a party, and those people choose their leader inside, which kind of works how a gang works. And they kind of... like gangsters work like that. So basically my question is that as South Africans, like, we need transparency, basically a way of knowing, because voting for someone or a party is fine, but how do we change those laws inside? I feel like a lot of South Africans do not know how they can actually influence a law to come to pass. As you said, like Pop-Ups doesn't even know who his MP is. And where do South Africans go if we as a community want to change something? Say maybe a law where Eskom is like, yo, guys, as a community, you can't just start your own power plant, or basically have as a community put money together to have your own solar farm and empower your community, where Eskom can come and says, no, that can't happen. How do we go and change that law, meaning that as a community, we can actually take care of ourselves in that way?
Powerful.
Power. Oh, I see what you did there. Powerful. That's cool.
In my previous work, it really taught me the power of people, the ability to do three things, in my opinion, that can help shift this thing: organize, mobilize, and conscientize. Those three are, I can go on, but the three fundamentals that helped me build the Kathrada Youth Program in the last 4 years, where we started with young people in our pilot projects, organizing them in their communities. And these are young people, 13-year-old, 15-year-old, 22, 25, who are in communities saying, what do we do to solve our issues here in this Annandale or Lance or Loli or wherever? And with the education that we had provided through civic education, human rights education, etc., we were able to take the same young people and in the scope of 4 years, shift their mindset from, I don't have a stake in this country, I just want to do good and volunteer, to saying, I'm going to contest in 2026 and make sure I'm the next councillor in this area or the next mayor. And it's a complete shift in, perhaps answers your question earlier, of getting young people engaged in this process. Communities have felt that there's no power in their hands, but there is, because you have the numbers, you have the ability to stop the kind of politicians who come in there with their brigades and almost as if they higher than thou. The only way you shift it is by the community saying, no, you account to us, we don't account to you. So you need to provide answers to what we think should be done and go and solve it and then come back and respond. So the kind of community organization helps a big deal, because if we're organized, our power becomes stronger. We're able to speak in a voice and a tone that gives us collective influence over just our individual frustrations.
Dij, we've got a EFF member here with us. Keda.
No, I just had a-
Commissar.
Relax. I just had a question on your stance on bringing back religion into the schools, and then your position on the land.
I can see the EFF. Bringing back religion in schools. I don't think we have a problem about. There's this misconception that religion must be in schools so that it includes this moral degradation we've experienced in this country. Because people are saying morally, I think we're all over the place. I think that's an illusion, because I think the problem we have is in the systems, in the governance, in the execution of what we all believe in. We want a quality education. What does that mean? Currently, in schools, the structure of a school, in fact, I think needs to change. And this is coming from a person who studied education. My postgrad as well. I've engaged lots of teachers, lots of principals and lecturers and learners, the biggest stakeholder, who are saying, this school, this matric certificate doesn't bear anything for me. And so it's a remodeling of what education means to us and how we actually geared up to serving our interest in the long term, but in the medium term as well. Religion, I think there's a need for separation between the state and the church, as we've known for many years. If you start doing that, then you're going to be, okay, but what about the interest of Hindu people, of Muslim people, of Christian people, and then dissecting even further each of those religions who have different groups in there. I think the state needs to function in a way that says we have an education system that respects and honors all religions, all different groups, so that the ideas and concepts that are taught within it is incorporated and everyone learns about it, so that we can respect and build that nation I'm speaking about. It won't be built by us not knowing what other cultures, religions, and people believe in. The question on land is a good one. I think there needs to be serious distribution of land, redistribution if you must, because the way it's currently structured, again, doesn't help us solve the fact that the majority of this country don't have ownership and access.
Yeah, the structure doesn't land.
We're the only country in the world where the minority rules the majority in terms of economic power and land. Like, how crazy is it that in a land full of so many of us, it's the other people who own most of it. It's crazy. It's insane, especially given the history of this country, you know, and how that land was acquired. It's a crazy thing to fathom. But I agree with you in the sense that a lot of things need to change structurally in education and how people are taught. Like I think it would be dope if teachers taught like preachers. You know what I mean? I think you know what I mean, like that. Yeah.
I just wanted to follow up. I had a whole thing, planned before then, but then I thought because of time we had to cut it short. But my thing is, don't we need a North Star to follow rather than just accept everything? I'm not saying we have to follow Christian. We just need a North Star to follow as a nation rather than just let's accept everything. Thank you.
100%.
What did you say?
But what is the North Star?
Hey, don't you think we need a North Star to follow?
An All-Star?
A North Star.
We need a direction to head.
But you know what?
Because as South Africans, we know how to get behind the direction. And this was Titi's frustration, is that when it comes to World Cups, we are there, especially rugby. We are there. We follow. Because it gives us something to all point in one direction. When the World Cup was happening in 2010,
there was
no crime happened for those 3 weeks.
When Chabalala scored, white people suddenly can say Chabalala
but
without
like,
help.
We had one direction.
Country 2010.
We had one direction.
We had one direction. We followed one. So for that 3 weeks, we all behaved. Because we were all like, guys, we've got visitors.
Happy and...
But the thing with religion for me, especially because DJ is asking the North Star, the thing with religion is that religion has the opposite of what you are supposed to be doing. Like Satanists, for instance,
you love talking about Satanists, but
because it's the radical other, and you need to, if you're gonna be fair, you have to think for the radical other. So the Satanists don't deserve justice to live in this country.
That's why you like playing the...
Which one is this one?
And Irfaan was saying at school they must teach everything so that everyone understands.
Yes.
Everyone's cultures. Must we teach Satanism?
If we're gonna do religion, if we're gonna do religion at schools, then Satanism needs to be taught too. Atheism, everything, ism, because then we're doing exactly the same thing by excluding people. If you have a political, there must be a racist there to make us understand what racists think about.
I'm not so sure.
Yeah, that's like saying there must be a criminal to make us understand. Hey, dog. How many of your phones are missing here today, class? Exactly.
So
that is crime.
Let's stick to Satanism. Am I wrong? Am I wrong to say that if you want to a religious free, if you want to everyone to express themselves religiously, then you can't exclude Satanists just because everyone hates them.
I don't want the Satanists at my child's school.
Now we wait for you have a child.
Yeah, then you will see how you feel about Satanism. Yo, man, Irfaan, my brother, thank you so much for coming. I think, with us, we've realized that we have a platform, right? And we pride ourselves in using our platform to laugh and educate. Right? Our whole ethos is we laugh and we motivate as well. And I think it's important for us to have these conversations, but also it's important for us to have someone of your caliber, someone of your age, of your stature, someone who's like us, but is in politics, to come and to sit with us and engage with us and have conversations that we know that the vast majority of South Africans want to have, but don't necessarily know how to have or know where to have. So thank you so much for making the time and coming to impart knowledge onto us. I have certainly learned so much.
Same, man.
And yeah, man, I wish you everything of the best in terms of this journey that you've embarked on. And I really hope that as time goes by, people start seeing what it is that you represent and what it is that you bring as rise to the table for this country of ours.
Can I just add something there? Because I think your platform is so powerful. There's a song I always sing on multiple platforms,
Yeah.
And I sing it because we must listen to the cries of the children.
Yes.
And the more listening we do, the better we can actually refine what should be done. I would have sung it now, but I don't think it's the appropriate platform. So catch me in the streets when you want to hear me sing.
Titi, you have something to... Sammy, Titi, you have something to...
Irfaan, thank you. You've told us about the policies and stuff but I want to know about the man, have you ever been in a fight?
I was stopping a lot of fights. I was the prefect in primary school.
Good save.
But the one who was who was one with the people, but also when went and hit the fan, I was also there too.
You're a 5-0.
Yeah. No. Actually, I was the balance between the two. It's the man on the inside who people respected to do the job, but also the one that they wanted to be there advocating for them.
So now while we're doing EMS, you're doing politics at school.
Yep.
That's dope, man.
It's original leader. Yo, my brother, I just want to say this to you, man. You've put in your hours, man. You were You were political in school as a prefect. You were holding the gate there at Wits. You know, and you know, it's not like you are a bodybuilder, my brother. You are like Tsitsi, you're a size 28 waist. You were holding you were inhaling tear gas.
Yeah.
You know, you're an activist. You've started you're part and parcel of starting a beautiful foundation, and now
you had to rise to the occasion.
And now you have risen to the occasion. I just want to say, Irfaan, that for years a lot of people might have been sleeping on you, but we at Popcorn and Cheese are not sleeping on you, and we all know that in order to rise to the occasion, you need to wake up comfortably in the morning and rise up for the day. So we want to make sure
rise and shine
that you are rising in comfortability. So we want to give you this pillow because most people have slept on you, but we at Popcorn and Cheese have not slept on you. And as people from the South, in the words of Dali Tambo, thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
It's so cool, man.
Yeah, man. So before we close, Robot, anything you want to say from Megatronville?
From Megatronville, #salary music video out. Go check it out. SASA, South Africa Social Media Awards, nominated Best Dancer. Trace Awards, nominated Best Dancer. The information is on here. Let us vote for your brother from another mother, because there is no other. Pops.
Robot Boy, that's him, of course, ladies and gentlemen, and he's downplaying the salary music video. That music video is genius. That is one of the best music videos to come out of this country. It references all the fallen artists that have been close friends with Robot. There's a Costa Teach reference from Costa Teach music video. I almost said King Munada. Hey, Aski's King. Kilakau. Mbura. Ricky Rick, aka
Star Science.
You know, and we went and shot the music video at our school, Mondio High. Represent South Boys worldwide. Izinja Zakim, Izinja Alive, Izinja is extra ngeslungu, Baspiza, Amadogmo. And of course, Tsitsi, my brother.
The show was amazing.
Oh yeah, your one-man show.
Yeah.
Oh, it was incredible.
That came
Those jokes were so funny, bro.
Yeah.
Tsitsi's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. And I just want to say to whatever Irfaan, like this stuff really it's close to my heart. We went to see a play the other day with Warren Masemola, yeah. And I couldn't stop crying because of the fact that they were showing us that like the country is kind of headed into doom. And that's when you realize how much you love this country. Because like you said, you have nowhere to go. And it's good to meet leaders, young leaders like yourself that are trying to fix home for us. Thank you, man. Really.
All right. And on that beautiful note, thank you, Tsitsi. It's time for us to end, ladies and gentlemen. We just want to thank each and every one of you, Cheese Gang, Cheese Boys, Cheese Girls, everyone out there. We appreciate your love and support. Please keep the comments coming. We do have merchandise that's going to be available soon from the team. We've got Robot Boy merchandise. We've got Pop-Ups merchandise. Check out the music video for Salary. All right. From me, the corn that pops.
And the cheese that's great.
We are RoboPops. And just like this new political party Rise, we are out.
Action. Utata fought for our rights.
Again. You gotta try something else, man.
Hey, Baba, just relax. Relax. We just arrived. Man. Please.
But we are winning.
What you will do is not influence the right of this young individual that's going to walk into here to vote.
We are winning.
Must everything be a spectacle with you?
It's just
Please.
a bunch of losers making noises after noises, but we all know.
Guys, please. I know we can't work together, but there's a voter coming in here. Can we just be mindful and take our turns speaking?
This young individual knows what to do.
How
we are cruising nicely.
White monopoly supremacists want to
You're a
tell
small
us
boy.
what to do.
You're a small boy.
Utata has fought 27 years in Robben Island.
Look,
Hey, winner. You will not tell me what to do.
Mama Winnie needs to give me a sign.
How?
Will not stand for this.
Look, I know a good sign. A good sign is a well-run municipality.
Not yet. Where have you been running? We have
That's
been
us.
running on the ground, on the streets.
Do you want to be a part of change? Do you want to be at the cusp of this country?
This is not a newsroom.
Aren't you tired of load shedding?
You know what?
Aren't you
It's a
tired of
revolutionary
potholes?
moment, yeah.
I will let this
Here we have a revolutionary moment.
You want to be a part of
I will
a
not
great
allow this to
team.
happen.
And that team is South
On the
Africa.
7 cardinal pillars.
We can't sing through our problems, let me be honest. But we can fix them.
We are cruising nicely here at the bottom.
Make the right
Because we are rising to the top.
I can also sing songs. Hey, die blauw van onze jeugd.
Igwa.
That's why I have these girls singing. I'm in charge.
Ons begeer
Igwa.
van
King die blue.
I have got the ruling
King
power.
gebertes. What is a
Is the important
gebertes?
part. Sounds the call to
That's why I have
come
these fools running around here.
together and united. We shall
These people
stand.
are-
Us together.
These people are.
Let us
So
live
what do you know
and
about the
strive
unity?
for freedom.
You know nothing about the unity.
In South Africa, our land.
Our.
Guys,
Speak of our.
You are speaking about this country like it's a
My
society.
friend.
Come together for
no,
what?
just listen, my friend.
When have
No
you
one
come
is going to
together
tell
do
you
the
what
right
to
thing.
do at
This
what
is not
time.
a this is not a WhatsApp
Aren't you
group
tired
here.
of
Come
folks
together.
just coming in with
I'm in charge.
overalls?
Who's the
What is
ugly?
this? Is
Who's
this
the
a mine?
ugly?
or-
Listen
the
to these
ugly?
fools arguing at the top position.
I look
I'm
like
in
your
charge.
grandfather. I look like your grandfather.
Oh, not this again.
I'm in
I
charge.
look like your
Look, we're not
grandfather.
about the past, eh?
We are
Yeah,
cruising
your
nicely.
grandfather
I get it.
died
I was
and fought
exiled
for
and
this.
things happen. I
Bravo,
wasn't there
Better.
personally myself.
Just
Bravo,
because.
Better.
But I promise you this: when we look to the future,
Rababet.
it's about to change.
This
This
election
is one
is
South
really
Africa
bad.
for all of you.
We are cruising nicely.
Doesn't matter if you're pink, green, white,
That's
blue,
why
orange.
this vote-
It doesn't matter. We don't see color.
Color, no color. Me, I'm not afraid, but I
We
deal with
don't see color. We see
Decisively.
unity. We see South Africans.
I deal
We
with
see despair. We see people who are ready for change.
What you will not
People
do is
who are
influence
tired
the
of
choice
losing
the young
tires to
individual that's going to come
potholes.
vote here.
People who are
Manipulate
tired
the
of
young minds.
surviving of 350.
Of our people.
Tired
Before you do
of
anything,
no electricity.
before you
SABC
know
one.
you want
Tired.
to take a box.
SABC one will bring back Gem Eli.
If you're tired,
We will bring
put
back
your ex
Gem
right
Ah, you
Eli.
want them to
Solo
right here.
City,
Right, look at this.
Takalani Sesame,
I should have done
look
it.
at this.
football,
Again.
I should have done
I'm
it.
sure about
Huh?
this. My friend, let me tell you something, eh?
I'm not your friend.
I'm
We're
in
not
charge.
here.
I'm not your friend.
Listen, my friend.
I'm in
I
charge.
am not your
listen.
friend. Please
We are
rephrase
cruising.
from
We
your
are
We
cruising
could
statement.
be doing more than
Please
changing
both
names
small
on
boys.
streets.
I'm not your friend.
You are
We'd
both
be
small
using
boys.
that
My
money
friend
to
is the
build
voter.
Small
on
boys.
South Africa.
My friend
Understand?
is the voter.
The top column is corruption.
I can't even do this.
The middle column has no identity.
I can't. It's,
We have the
it's
7
loud
cardinal
in
pillars.
here.
How do I
It's hot.
speak to a man that uses moisturizer for his hair?
Middle ground.
About
There's no
serious
middle ground.
stuff.
Corruption.
Says the guy
And no
who
identity.
steals money.
That's why.
To do what?
If you
These
want to
fools
see
are
what
running
corruption
around
looks
here.
like, my friend,
Do you have the
scroll up.
slips? Do you
I'm
have
in
the
charge.
slips?
Are you going to put an X
Do you
on
have the
corruption?
slips?
I'm in charge.
Do you have the slips?
Money disappears. When do you think it disappears? to?
Allegedly.
Look at all
Allegedly.
our body structures.
No, that money
Do I look like I'm eating more than I should?
Are running around here.
No.
Huh?
I'm in charge.
I'm asking.
Eh?
Yeah.
You are asking, who are you asking?
Who looks like they're eating more than they should be?
Arguing about eating when
Apartheid
we've got degrees
took
here.
us
eh?
all down.
Not
We have
this
got
again.
graduates.
Guys, that was in the past.
And we make sure that we win.
That was in the past.
What past?
We are moving towards a future.
What future?
Moving, but you're not running. We are kitchening. Kichi, kichi.
Who's that person under you talking so much?
It's that other guy.
Who's that other guy?
He was part of you. And then all of a sudden, poof, gone. Now there's two of you.
Why is he?
And I'm stuck in the middle. I'm stuck in the middle.
I am not over anyone. I am
But I
above.
will not be overwhelmed. I will not be distracted from my mission. And my mission is one South Africa.
You look like a fish finger.
We filled up the stadium
You look like a fish finger.
because we're on the ground. Yeah.
The one under you looks like a Kit Kat.
That's why these fools are running around here. I'm in charge.
Kit Kat le fish finger. Ke lwane Kit Kat le
O ka re
fish
botsa
finger.
ka
Come
re
on.
Kit Kat le
Listen.
fish finger ke re ena re tshwere di-vote.
I'm really, it's stuffy in here. And someone didn't put roll on. I'm
Just
not
a
gonna say
bunch
who.
of losers.
Roll on.
But let me tell you something.
Corruption.
We're a clean party.
This is like a Comic-Con for
We're a
losers.
party that fights for the people. 2
2
words.
Closing nice.
Town.
I look like your grandfather. Come on.
Don't you want your place to be like Cape Town?
This is a voting station.
You know what
not
to
a
do.
newsroom.
Here's the X.
Where's the Cape Town?
Here's the X.
Bastard.
Where in Cape Town? Are you talking at Langa, Nyanga? Or are you talking about Camps Bay?
Don't own.
Are you talking Langa, Nyanga?
What happens to the land?
Where there's no flushing toilet. There's no flushing toilet. No
What are you doing?
flushing toilet.
What have you done?
Huh?
What happens
I made
to
the
the land?
table mountain.
They can't answer Billy. They are just
I
arguing
made
about
the table mountain. I'm the one that
I can show you what you've done.
I'm in charge.
I can show you what you've done.
What have I done? What have I done? What have I done?
Exactly.
Oh my. Oh.
That's what you've done.
This is a state of the nation.
Now our voter can't even see where he should put the X.
The coal
Because we're in darkness.
The coal is wet.
Thanks to who?
The coal is wet.
How long is coal going to be wet?
From the rain.
Microwave it
Are
then.
you controlling the rain? Are you controlling the rain?
Solar panels.
I
That's
must
what we are
control
doing
the
on
rain.
the ground.
Am I Queen Mujaji?
Cheapest.
Am I Queen Mujaji? Kinna Queen Mujaji here.
That's what we're doing. Brightening up the country.
You know my language.
For generators.
We have a brighter future.
When they take away the power, we bring it right back.
The power to bring a brighter future. Not this nonsense that you're arguing about.
There's an inventor.
If they were so bright,
doing
we
nothing.
have no
There's an
shedding.
inventor.
If they were so bright,
There's
would
an
we have
inventor.
potholes?
You are claiming at the top, you're ruling, but you're doing
If
nothing.
they were so bright, would they know that MacG and
That's
Tini
why I
actually
have got
played
the
cricket
ruling
not
right
right?
to my
Potholes
scrotum.
are a result of the tectonic plate shifting. It's none of our business.
Both the parties at the top, I have got them by scrotum.
Vote.
Do the right thing.
We will bring change. Vote. Again.
You should change, buddy.
Know nothing about change. Just to steal the change.
Corrupt.
Do you want to know what a red flag is?
Lomulungulu is under you.
2024 is the new 94. Remember, in order to make a change, you must vote. 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 Vote.
Robo Pops, awubiza ama-cheese girl nama-cheese boy da. We motivate, then we laugh as well. Stay on brand, never hard to sell. Got real chats, now my LOL. So we both got gang and we blessed as hell. Siyadlala story, petting on my guest, and I said moy. You want my bundles, not of joy. Said it's Pops and Robot Boy. Popcorn and cheese. Yeah.